have with us none other than Dr. Devesh Chaturvedi, who is a very senior Indian Administrative Service officer of the 1989 batch. Talking about his education, he has a B.Tech from IIT Kanpur, then M.Tech and PhD from IIT Delhi. As an IAS of UP cadre, he worked in different districts of the state of Uttar Pradesh as district magistrate, and he also worked as additional chief secretary in the district of Uttar Pradesh. Talking about his national assignments, he worked in the Department of Tourism. He also worked in the Department of Personnel and Training, where he took care of services matters, vigilance, etc. Being a very good administrator, he retired as Secretary, Department of Agricultural Cooperation and Farmers Welfare. Welcome, sir. We welcome you to this podcast on agricultural leadership, and with your experience, we want our viewers to know that what could be the, like you have worked in Department of Tourism, so we would like to know what could be the prospects of agro-tourism in our country for us like.
So, as you rightly mentioned, India has a primarily agrarian economy, and therefore, when I worked in Ministry of Tourism, even at that point of time, this concept of rural tourism was propagated, and rural tourism was basically when tourist goes to a village and there they have a unique experience, and that unique experience can be of some sort of crafts or maybe some off the beat destination and the cuisine of that local area. So, now agro-tourism is nothing but some form of rural tourism where the tourists go and they understand the rural life, the agricultural life, how various products are produced including dairying, fisheries. Children are very excited to see that unique thing from urban areas, and then they also get sort of taste of the local cuisine, and if it is organically prepared, and it's another concept of safe food. So, that sort of integration will not only help the farmers of that village, it will also motivate them to grow exotic products which fetch higher price, and there will be employment generation because of those hospitality related services. So, many states have initiated this rural tourism concept combining with agro-tourism, and certainly it is a niche product which has a lot of potential in the country.
Well, sir, you also had experience with DOPT, and with that experience, could you elaborate on how can we remove corruption in government services in India?
You see, there are two aspects here. One is, of course, as a deterrence. So, in deterrence, we have the Prevention of Corruption Act, and which has been strengthened. Of course, we have the anti-corruption agencies which ensure that there is swiftness of punishment and there is certainty of punishment. But more than that, what is required is that if we are able to reduce the opportunity of corruption in public services by the government servant. So, there are various strategies by which generally policies are undertaken. First is to reduce discretion. So, if there is discretion in the hands of the decision makers or the civil services, then obviously there are chances of corruption and nepotism. So, the whole policy is to ensure that decisions are policy driven based on strict guidelines, so that the discretion is removed. Secondly, we use technology, and if you see in last about a decade, since Honorable Prime Minister initiated this Jan Dhan Aadhaar and mobile, the JAM Trinity, so many services have been put on the platform of technology, which has led to, it has not only enabled seamless delivery of services, it has reduced the chances of middlemen coming and exploiting the common citizen. So, whether it is a ration card or it is a delivery of services to the farmers, or it could be getting some certificate like the car certificate or the residence certificate. Everything has been put online with a strict time bound delivery of service. So, technology is one of the biggest enabler which reduces corruption, apart from taking action once someone is caught doing something wrong. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Chaturvedi, as a Secretary, Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare, you have served the country to a great extent. we would like to know how can we increase a 4% growth rate in agriculture and what would be the priorities of Indian agriculture?
You see, if you see the growth path of agriculture sector in past decade, it has been obviously more than 4%, and economic survey has sort of recognized this fact that agriculture has grown at a very growth which has never been earlier. Now, if you divide agriculture into its subsectors, what we see is the greatest highest growth rate is in animal husbandry or dairying and fisheries. Then next comes the horticulture, and then comes the crops. So, the whole idea of growth rate, if we want a high growth rate, we have to go firstly to high value crops and diversify more towards animal husbandry and fisheries, which of course our policies are doing. When we talk of diversification, diversification can be broadly kept into two ways. First is that within the crops, if we go towards the exotic varieties of the same crop, for example, instead of growing common rice, if we grow the GI tagged rice like basmati or kala namak or something like that. Even in wheat, we can grow some exotic varieties which fetch higher prices. So, farmers are being encouraged to move towards those varieties. And then of course, we go towards horticulture, which is little risk but high return activity. And therefore, the whole policy of the government in terms of increasing income is to diversify in high value products, and then do something where the farmers do the value add, so that the losses are reduced and they fetch up higher prices. And the last point, which is very important, is we have to be very careful about that we have a small holdings. There is a fragmentation of holdings because a large number of our population is dependent on agriculture, and therefore, when we have small holdings, the economy of scales for better realization of price and reducing of cost comes when we do clusterization. So, the whole concept is to do farming in cluster, so that the economy of scales are maintained, and here the role of farmer producer organizations and the cooperatives come. And when the farmer producer organizations come together with the farmers and start growing high quality products, the marketability becomes very easy, the input cost reduces, and then the farmers are encouraged to diversify, which increases not only the incomes, but it also increases the overall share of farming in GDP. So, these are some of the strategies which are being used to ensure that we keep on the pace of agriculture at 4 and 4.5%. And the last point is that our present processing share is 10 to 12% of the produce, and we have to at least increase up to 20% in the next 5 to 6 years. Ideally, it should be 40%, but even if we are able to reach to 20%, then also we will be finding that the growth rate of agriculture will be impacted positively.
We know that value addition and diversification can definitely increase the growth rate of our country, and for that good extension systems are required. With that, I would like to know what would be the strategies to strengthen the extension systems of our country.
You see, as you may be aware that the whole green revolution, when it was initiated, the scientists provided the technologies, and ultimately it reached to the farmers through the extension systems. And those extension systems were basically, there were two pillars of it. One was the Krishi Vigyan Kendras through the university system and the ICR system, and one other was the state extension machinery. Slowly and steadily, the extension machinery has been involved in many other multifarious activities of agriculture and allied sector and other sectors. And as a result, now slowly and steadily we have to reimagine and reinvent the agriculture extension system. So, one of the first ways is again to use technology. So, as you know that when I was working as secretary, the ministry initiated Bharat Vistar, one of the first AI platform of government which all provides advisories to the farmers based on their requirements. Now, that Bharat Vistar, which was initially started in English and Hindi, now will be going to multiple languages and also adding new features. So, technology is one of the ways that extension services can be reaching to the farmers with a very cost effective manner, and also very targeted advisories can be sent, because now with the digital agriculture mission coming, we have a system of farmer ID and the crop sown registry integrated with each other. So, for each farmer we know what is the level of farming, what are the crops being grown, what is the location of that farm, what is the soil health conditions. So, based on those inputs which is already available, we can provide very targeted and specific advisories to the farmers right from the time of sowing till the time of marketing. So, that is one way that extension can improve. Second is that we can also strengthen our Krishi Vigyan Kendra system, which with proper capacity building of scientists, so that then they again train the progressive farmers and the extension machinery of the state governments, which can then reach to the farmers. So, that is the second aspect. And third aspect is we have to use the energy of the other stakeholders in the system. For example, we have the lady or the women self-help groups. Already, we have Krishi Sakhis, which are doing natural farming, helping us in the mission. We have the Pashu Sakhis, we have the banking correspondent Sakhis, we have the drone Didis. Yeah. So, all these are the empowered women who are helping delivery of services in the farming sector, and we should further expand the women enterprise in terms of extension. And second aspect is the progressive farmers, other progressive farmers who have already achieved high level of productivity and incomes in a particular crop. They can be used to tell other farmers how to reach to that level of productivity, which the farmers will certainly accept it in a better way. And the third is again, when we do clusterizations through farmer producer organizations, they can also become one of the forums and platforms for extension services. So, these new ideas which are more cost effective, they will not require regular bureaucracy or expansion of regular bureaucracy, which will be not so cost effective. These new systems can be more cost effective and can reach to the farmers in a more effective way.
Thank you, sir. With your vast experience in governance of modern agriculture, we would like to know your message for the budding agricultural scientists and the extension professionals of the country.
Well, as far as the scientists are concerned, my only appeal to them would be that they have to, right from the start of their career, they have to orient their research and expertise based on the needs of the country. So, as you know, our ministry, our minister, our secretary, our DG, ICAR, they all are talking of need-based research, and those needs are generated from interaction with the farmers. We had this Viksit Bharat Sankalp Abhiyan where the scientists, the group of scientists went to the field with most of many villages. They talked to the farmers and they got the real issues which are bothering them and hindering production, productivity and incomes. And now the research should be such that it is oriented towards those tackling those issues. And secondly, we have so many missions going on. The natural farming mission, the pulse mission, the oil seed mission, the cotton mission. So, those missions again reflect the priority of the country, of the sector, and therefore, the research has to be oriented towards addressing those priorities. And if they do that, they will not only be satisfied in terms of the contributing to the nation building, they will rise in the career also. And as far as extension officials are concerned, certainly they have to be constantly upgrading their knowledge and skills, because unless they upgrade their knowledge and skills, it will be very difficult to pass it on down to the grassroots level extension workers or the farmers, because things are changing very fast, technologies are changing very fast, new seed varieties are coming, the climate resilient varieties are coming, the technologies are coming, precision farming, precision agriculture, so many things are coming. So, they have to constantly upgrade their skills and understand what are the latest things and then pass it down to the farmers as quickly as possible. That is something which will be the challenge for them in future.
Thank you, sir, for being with us here and enriching us with your knowledge. Namaskar.
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you very much.